Guitars is giving away this Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul to one of you. How to enter? Subscribe to Play and Trade Guitars on YouTube, and we'll give it away when we hit 50,000 subscribers. Hey, welcome back to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where of course we play it and trade it. Kicking off a new series, I'm very excited to announce that we're taking a deep dive into Paul Reed Smith, checking out the ever popular, best-selling SE Silver Sky, collaboration between Paul Reed Smith and John Mayer, the man himself. Incredible guitar, incredible colors, and incredible price, $849 US. If you're in the market for a Silver Sky or any other gear, use our purchase link down in the description. It supports our channel directly when you buy using our link. And we're getting close to that giveaway. Make sure you sign up on Gleam for that 50K giveaway of our Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul. Now, the Silver Sky, of course, the original collaboration in 2018 was a study of John Mayer's favorite 1963 and 1964 Fender Strats. Paul Reed Smith did the PRS thing and put together kind of the best of both worlds with some amazing features. And then at a much lower price tag as of late, we had the SE version made in Indonesia, still with some top shelf features that are really cool. You have this special set of single coil pickups. They call these the 635 JM single coil pickups. You've got a specific neck shape that John helped Paul Reed Smith develop. Kind of an unfinished feel on the back of the neck. Feels great in the hands already. So we're gonna put it on the bench, we're gonna take it apart and talk full specs, and then of course, we're gonna plug it in and play it. So let's head over to the bench and get to work. All right, here at the bench to take a deep dive. Let's start up at the top of the headstock. You got that classic Paul Reed Smith headstock, 3 on a side. You got these vintage non-locking tuners, which look pretty sharp. I actually like this matte plastic look on here. We have a maple neck. It's unfinished, there's no gloss, so it has kind of a satin-esque feel, but it might be entirely unfinished actually, so very smooth feel. Scarf joint on the neck. You have this nice rounded heel. I love this black backplate here, SE Silver Sky with John Mayer's signature there. Beautiful color. This is called Dragon Fruit, and it looks like somewhere between a pink and a red, but very, very nice. You got the classic S contours on the body. Flipping it over, we have a 3-ply pickguard, a set of these 635 JM single coil pickups developed in conjunction with John Mayer and Paul Reed Smith to get the sound that he really loved from his 63 and 64 Strat. Why they call it 635, I don't know, maybe because it's the 63 Strat and Alnico 5 magnets. That's my guess. If you know, you could drop a comment. Coming down here, we have a vintage style saddles, which look pretty cool. They look like vintage saddles, but then a more modern 2-point tremolo system with the bar. So kind of a blending of vintage and modern on the trem here. Standard 5-way selector switch, like a Strat style guitar. And then of course your volume, tone and tone. Now check out this piece of rosewood, because I'll take the strings off, but we have consistently noticed already in terms of quality control that our first batch of Paul Reed Smith guitars have all had beautiful, beautiful pieces of rosewood. You got these bird inlays, 22 frets on this guitar, and the specific 635 JM neck carve it's called, which was a shape that John worked on with Paul Reed Smith specifically to get the shape that he wanted out of this guitar. So why don't we pull the strings off, we'll take a deep dive, and I'm super excited. Let's do it. So the Silver Sky is actually part of the Paul Reed Smith bolt-on collection, which is pretty limited in terms of the number of bolt-on options that Paul Reed Smith offers. But the Silver Sky is one of them. And here you're gonna have a 4-screw pattern. So we'll go ahead and take off the plate. You can also see the rounded contoured heel, which is really comfortable. So let's go ahead and pull this plate off. We'll take a closer look at the neck. I love that matte black metal plate right there, very cool. Go ahead and turn this and let the neck fall out here. It's gonna be a maple neck, and then this is actually a poplar body. So not a standard, tone wood for an S-style guitar, but in this case, pretty cool that they went with a poplar. I'd also be curious to see what that weighs in at, but you can get a close look at this lighter poplar wood grain here. No markings inside the neck. Kind of interesting that you can actually see through straight to the neck pickup. And then as we look at the neck, you see this beautiful piece of slab rosewood. Double action truss rod is accessible at the top, unlike a vintage Strat, which would be accessible down here. And 22 frets on this, and the radius here is actually 8.5 inches. So like a modern, well, I should say that the Silver Sky was 7.25, which is modeled on vintage Fender radius. This one they modernized a little bit, so it's a little less humped at 8.5. A modern Fender, for comparison's sake, would typically be like 9.5 inches. So it's somewhere between purely modern and purely vintage spec. But a beautiful piece of rosewood. I love the bird inlays, acrylic bird inlays. And I'll go ahead and get some measurements now on the neck itself. Paul Reed Smith was actually famous for inventing a compensated nut, which helped alleviate some of the intonation issues that occur close to the nut itself. The regular Silver Sky is a bone nut. This one has a synthetic bone nut. Comes in at 1.62 inches, so actually pretty narrow nut there. And then we'll go ahead and get a measurement on this neck. 0.83 inches at the first fret, up to 0.92 inches at the 12th fret. So not the skinniest neck, it's got some heft to it. Not too big, not too small, kind of a perfect medium. Feels great already in my hands. Body thickness comes in at 1.75 inches, just like a classic S-style guitar. So at $849, my guess is it's probably no accident that it's priced right in line with the Fender Player Series Stratocaster. So an obvious comparison as you're shopping for a guitar is to check out the Fender Player Series and see how you feel in comparison about the SE Silver Sky. Definitely worthy of direct comparisons and something that we'll talk about going forward for sure. Whichever one you're shopping for, remember to use our link down in the description. It supports us directly when you buy using our link. So we have an 8-screw pattern, unlike a standard Strat 11-screw pattern. And I also want to reiterate, I keep comparing it to a Strat. I really have said before, because we've covered multiple iterations of the Silver Sky. We've done the standard Silver Sky. We did the Nebula, we did the Lunar Ice, we've done the SE. I'm going in fresh, and I only want to go so far in comparing it to a Strat because I think the important realization is that it does still stand on its own, and it does have very unique features that make it different from other brands and the other big brand out there. All right, so getting a look at the backside of these 635 JM single coil pickups. They are all identical, so they haven't spec'd out different pickups for each of the positions, bridge, middle, and neck. You can see some import alpha pots here, 250K pots, and standard 5-way blade switch. See, they've shielded the cavity here. You can check out the routes. No versatility in terms of the routes, so it's only routed for single coil pickups, just worth mentioning. But these are highly developed pickups, so I think the idea is you probably don't want to change these pickups because they're pretty good. While we're talking pickups, let's fire up the multimeter and get some readings. Got a reading of 7.1 in bridge, 7.1 in middle, 7.1 in neck. No surprises there. They're all the same pickups, and they've strived for an even response across positions and a consistent experience by putting the same pickup in each position. Flipping the guitar over, we can check out the trem cavity. High quality steel trem, and then you can see it comes from the factory with 4 springs. I found that the trem action is actually pretty tight from the factory, so if you want it to float more, just you can either remove a spring and adjust or back off some of the tension in these 2 claw screws here. One little extra bonus I'll mention before we get a weight here is that it does come with a gig bag, so in the same price range, if you're looking at the Fender Player Series, it just comes in a Fender box. It doesn't come with a gig bag or anything. So just nice that they gave you the nice padded backpack gig bag with it. So they went with poplar for the body wood, so let's see what this entire guitar weighs in at here. Wow, really light, 6 pounds, 14 ounces. So we're under 7 pounds on this, which is pretty cool. We'll call it 6.9 pounds. All right, and flipping guitar around just for an initial reaction. It's interesting, it doesn't actually have this unplugged. It doesn't have the projection or volume of most guitars, but it does have a great, the neck feel is really nice. The unfinished feel of this maple neck feels, really like a satin finish, but it's very nice on the hands. Beautiful piece of rosewood. The 8.5 inch radius is not going to cause any problems, so far as I can tell. You're not getting like any of the choking out or anything like you would on sometimes when you try to bend on like in a 7.25 inch radius. No playability issues. I don't see any construction issues. Beautiful guitar. It's about time we go ahead and plug it in and play it. Remember, if you're in the market for any gear, use our purchase link. But as we get ready to fire this guitar up and play it, we're gonna give you some direct clean tones, let you hear exactly what the guitar just plugged directly into our recording rig. And then we'll fire it up with a few riffs, Fender Deluxe Reverb, and then we'll put it behind a track and let it sing. So I can't wait. Let's get to work and see how the SE Silver Sky sounds this time around. John Mayer, the SE Silver Sky, Paul Reed Smith. I'll tell you what, every time I come back to this guitar, I like it more and more. This particular guitar, I absolutely love. Zach and I have covered all the iterations from the Nebula to the Lunar Ice. Now the SE, this is actually the second time we covered the SE, but what's been great is on the channel we've been covering so many guitars from all the big brands that it's really nice to put everything out of your head and go, you know what, let's revisit, let's take a deep dive into Paul Reed Smith, and this guitar out of the box, the SE Silver Sky, absolutely did not disappoint. I cannot recommend this guitar any more highly than I can speak to you through this camera. This is $849, absolutely exceptional neck feel, beautiful piece of rosewood. The trem is a standout. It actually comes, it's not really floating from the factory, it's pretty tight, but what's nice about that stiffer action on the trem really gives you a lot of tuning stability, a lot of control. It is it's a narrower nut, so you're gonna feel down here, it's smaller, you know, which is probably in line with if you're going for kind of a comparison to that mid to entry level range guitar, you want something that's made for all hands. The neck feel is perfect. The pickups sound absolutely fantastic. They're voiced just phenomenally. Everything about this guitar, I have not one thing to complain about. The standouts are gonna be, you know, number one, the neck feel. I love actually the unfinished neck feel. Feels fantastic, kind of like a satin feel. And that piece of rosewood and just the way the fretboard feels is just perfect. Number two, the sound that you're getting from these 635 JM single coil S pickups, out of this world and only available through Paul Reed Smith. And then number three, I think this trem system, which is kind of a blend of modern and vintage, gives you the perfect amount of control if you like to use trem just a little bit here and there like I do. And it seems like it can take the abuse if you want to use it more and let it float even more than I have it currently. Number four, I think you're just taking a modern approach to a vintage Strat, and Paul Reed Smith is just coming out and saying, I'm gonna do it better at a great price. And number five is the price. I mean, how can you beat this guitar at $849 with the components that are put into it, with the overall quality? I am just totally blown away by this example. It's not the first we've played, but coming back to it again, it's actually really fun to take a step away and come back to it and go, wow, okay, that's what you're all talking about. We get it. And demoing this guitar, drop a comment, let us know what your favorite attributes of this guitar are. It's available in 4 finishes. This is the dragon fruit, which I thought looked really cool, but there's also a green, white, and blue. You can check all those out. Use our purchase link. You can browse any gear that you might need. We've partnered with Zounds to make that super easy. They have no hassle payment plans, no credit check, no interest. They have fast free shipping, so Zounds has been a great partner. Use our purchase link to buy down in the description because it supports us directly when you do that. Can't wait to see you on the next demo. We're gonna be taking a deeper dive into Paul Reed Smith. Very excited to kick it out of the gates with the super, super popular SE Silver Sky collaboration with John Mayer, the man, the player of all players, and a true guitar hero of mine. So this has been a great look. See you guys in the next demo. Catch you soon.